Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your hosts, Tom Zappala and Boston sports personality, John Mallory.
JM, my main man, how you doing, brother?
What's up, Zap?
Nothing much. It's really, I know you got a lot of snow up there. We have a tremendous amount of snow down here in southern Florida. Actually, I have ice cubes, but other than that, the weather is going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, the meteorologists overestimated this storm. It's just enough to be a pain in the neck driving somewhere, but it's nothing. So
I may even skinny dip this afternoon in my pool.
That's good. I appreciate the visual.
I'm giving it serious thought.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Anyways, welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zappala.
And when Tom skinny dips, he jumps up and down, and a minute later, parts are still moving.
That's horrible. That is absolutely horrible. Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, Tom Zapp, and my good friend and my former friend and co-host, John Mallory. John Mallory's in the house. We've got a great show today. We've got our good friend, Bian Drent.
The best.
He is, from Mile High Card Company, going to be on with us. And Mike Provenzale from Heritage is going to join us a little later on. Let's bring, Brian in first. Hey, Brian.
Hey guys, how are you?
How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, man.
Good. Glad to have you. We got a lot to talk about, Brian. Auctions, the state of the hobby. We're going to bring in to talk about all kinds of stuff. And by the way, folks, you can listen to us on any of your favorite platforms: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, what else? All that good stuff. And we're also on a WCAP up in the Boston area, 980. Good people up there. We've been with them a long time, JM.
I know. Long time affiliation with CAP. Yep.
Right. All right. Listen, we have a special guest, though, who I have gotten to know over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and she is as wacky as the rest of us. No, but she's a sweetheart. Brittany Perdigon from Little Smiles. Brittany is the CEO of Little Smiles. Hey, Britt.
Hello, how are you?
How you doing? Nice to see you.
You know, and you have to be wacky to be in this nonprofit industry.
Absolutely you do.
Fit right in.
Hey, Britt, Rico and I, we're really excited. We've got the event coming up on March 2nd. Down here in Juno Beach, at the County Line Restaurant. This is to benefit a great charity, a charity that has now become close to our hearts. I think we told you this before we got into this. We talked long and hard about a good charity to do something for us. Several years ago, we did the Jimmy Fund event down here, and our good friend Tommy Cerrito. We started talking. I know that he and his wife were involved with Little Smiles. We did our research and we said, boom, this is it. And you know what the reason was? Because 93 cents of every buck goes right to the kids. Tell us a little bit about Little Smiles, and then we can talk about the event.
All right. So how long do you have? Because I'm a nonprofit CEO. So.
You got 5 minutes.
Right.
Oh, oof. Man, this is going to be tough. No, listen, the work that we do here at Little Smiles is absolutely incredible. Not just because, I'm the CEO of it, but to see the smiles on the kids' faces. Little Smiles, we're simple. It's all about helping kids be kids in difficult times. All we are there to do is to provide a smile for a child that is in need, whether they are laid up in a hospital bed, they're homeless, they've experienced some sort of trauma or tragedy, something along those lines, that where any child feels like they're at a deficit, we're there with the junk food. We're there with the Doritos, the candy, the popcorn. We're there with the cool new action figure. We're there with sometimes just basic necessities, clothes, shoes. Sometimes kids come to us and they have shoes that are 3 sizes too small. Kids can't have, I can't have that. So let alone a kid that's running on a playground. We're there to provide those things to the nurses, the social workers, the law enforcement agents. We're there to give them those things so they can be the shining light to provide the smile to any child.
Well, you know something, that's kind of what impacted us. You says little smiles, big impact. And once we sat down, all of us, along with Chip, the founder, Paul Donahue, we were sold. We were absolutely sold. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to be doing a donut run in the next couple of weeks at one of the hospitals or wherever. So we're looking forward to that. Let's talk about the event. And by the way, folks, this is really, really important. Obviously, you folks that are not in the Florida area, you can still make a donation. I'm begging you to make a donation. I don't care if it's $10, $20. You can go to the website. No, actually, to the link. We post a link. You can click right on the link and make a $10 donation, $20 donation, whatever it is. And if you don't know me personally, but you watch the show, mention the Great American Collectibles Show, so we'll know where to apply it. Tell us a little bit about the event and your thoughts about the event.
Yeah. So, when you guys, came to us with this idea, I thought it was cool. I'm a sports girl. I grew up, I played, college sports as well, too. So for me, sports are near and dear. So when I found out, that I could meet Rico and he and you guys were able to come together and provide this incredible event, the memorabilia that we're going to have and just even the Q&A with Rico, down here in South Florida, we have a lot of, sports stars. We have a lot of retired, guys and gals down here. Being able to get really this intimate moment at a local pizzeria, I think is really setting a precedent of, you guys care about the little ones. You guys care about the little guys, and you're on this, national platform, but you still care about the local kids in our community. And I think that's something incredible. So at this event, we're going to have a silent auction, live auction. We're going to have giveaways, the Q&A. We're going to have so much stuff. And once again, it all benefits Little Smiles. So we can go and do the donut runs where we take donuts and coffee in at, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning to the hospitals, feed all the families and feed all of the kids that, on weekends, hospital food, if we can sneak something in, by all means, we're sneaking it in. So this event's going to be great.
And for memorabilia, we have some great auction items. We've got signed baseballs by Hall of Famers. We've got jerseys donated by different teams. We have the Miami Heat donated a team signed basketball. We've got all kinds of great vintage memorabilia. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we also have a silent auction, golf outings with Rico, fishing expeditions with Rico. Rico's going to have a blast, JM.
Don't go fishing, but if you go fishing with Rico, it might be like going with Fredo. So you got to be careful about that. Hey, Britt, I had a question for you. I listened to your answer at the top of the show. So how do you find the need? How do you find the kids in need? Do you do outreach and go find them? Do you wait for organizations or, whether it's law enforcement, hospitals, families come to you? How do you connect with people?
So 75% of our kids come through our partner facilities. So we partner with hospitals, domestic abuse shelters, medical daycares, and law enforcement agencies. And we partner with them. We come up, the contractual agreement to make all the attorneys happy, and then we have our liaisons inside those facilities because they're the ones that work with the kids day in and day out. So they know what the kids need. So it's not just us blind guessing.
Right.
Hey, I think a kid likes Spider-Man. No, we actually get the kid that says, I love Spider-Man. So we're able to go, if a kid is going to be enduring a 6-month hospital stay, we'll buy the posters, the blankets, all sorts of stuff to turn their room into a home away from home. So we get it through there. And then the one chunk that we do through our annual toy drive every year, is open up to the public. We have an application system. So we do open up through the general public for that. A majority of our stuff does come through our partner agency.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Okay, your website is, just let everybody know.
littlesmilesfl.org.
And please make a donation. We're begging you. This is going to be a great event.
Hey, Zap, people can bid on the items online, or is it all?
No,
you cannot.
No,
okay.
No, they can't.
Okay.
But what we're going to do in the next couple of weeks, what we've decided to do is I'm going to be giving a list of items. Now, for instance, right now, there are 2 items that we have bids on from outside people. And Brian, our good friend Derek Grady, we have Rico's last game used bat, the last bat he ever used in his career. And we had donated it. We had a starting bid of $2,000 on it, and our good friend Derek Grady already has a bid of $3,000 on the bat. And we also have an outside bid on we have a beautiful James Fiorentino 1-of-1 Miracle on Ice print, and it's going to be signed by Mike Ruzioni. We already have a $300 bid on that. So I guess what we can do is I'm going to be sending out a list. If you want to, you can PM me. If you want to bid on it, you can, but we're going to have to get some financial information from you up front, because you're not going to bid on something and then stiff us. Right. Not happening. All right. With that being said, Britt, we'll see you next week, I think, or the week after.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, give me a call or email me. Email number 185 I can send back to you. And say hi to everyone. Thanks for coming on.
Yes. Thank you, guys. We appreciate everything. We really
Thanks,
do.
Britt.
Brittany Perdigon from Little Smiles. Nice girl. I tell you, we've had some fun, man. We've had some fun with that. You know how we go to these luncheons and it turns into a free-for-all between me and Rico and Tom Cerrito. F-bombs all over the place. It's pretty good. All right, let's bring in Brian. Brian, first of all, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. We got a lot to talk about today with what's going on in the hobby. But first of all, what kind of a year did you have? What was 2023 like for Mile High?
Oh, 2023 was just a continuation of kind of an upward trend that we've been on, I guess, since even pre-pandemic. It was a fabulous year, and our auctions get more and more exposure. That means more customers, better items, and we had a obviously transition from 2022. I lost a longtime employee who unfortunately passed away, and so it was an upheaval kind of in our staff. But believe it or not, sometimes when we get used to something, we're just that used to it. And now we've got some new people on board, and quite honestly, more talented, great individuals. And so 23 was fabulous, and 24 is really starting off with a bang. We've got a great auction that we're putting together for our spring auction.
Right. I mean, JM?
Brian, just playing off what you said, when you have a year like that, obviously not the personal stuff, and obviously we're sorry for your loss with your company, but when you look at a year and then you're heading into another year, we're in February now, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but what did you learn from 23 that you can maybe apply to 24, whether it's changes in the business, trends, things you want to do differently or not? What do you take from one year into the next?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. What I always do is, we can't, this business, and really any business, I would imagine, but definitely the sports collectibles business, you can't be stagnant at all.
Right.
There's different trends, different things that we see that are working. I think we have to do and are doing more with social media. I think we're going to get more into video and set up a kind of a video area so we can do more presentations of upcoming material that are going to be in auctions, so we can feature that, a recap of auctions, things of that nature. So just, as good as 22 was, 23 got better, but you learn something, and going forward in 24, we're going to apply some things that, that we learned in 23, and we can do better.
We're chatting with Bian Drent from Mile High Card Company. Brian, you're a vintage guy. You've been a vintage guy for many, many years, but the market's changing. It's started to change over the last couple of years. So do you have new staff that specializes or is learning the modern and ultra modern card market?
Yeah, for sure. We've actually got 3 guys on staff that are well versed in vintage, but they also probably have more of an aptitude for modern. With Andy Roberts, Brian Fritz, and we recently added David Cole. And those guys all started out as really in our area, local dealers setting up at local shows. One of them still, a couple of them still set up on their own, and really focused more on modern than they did on vintage. So it really brought a new angle to Mile High Card Company. And so I think we're even more well-versed with modern stuff. It may not be exactly my expertise or forte, but we definitely have people on staff that know it much better than myself and know the material.
Let's talk about the vintage market for a minute. Again, Brian, you have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to vintage cards. Excluding the Ruths, the Cobbs, the standard, the Wagners, those standard iconic cards. Can you recommend? I mean, we always get questions from budget collectors, vintage collectors about, can we make recommendations? And we try not to, but sometimes we'll kind of float some names out there based on trends. A card that they may want to keep an eye on, or cards. Are there any vintage cards that you can think of that going forward in 2024, maybe even 2025 and beyond that may be a decent investment? Doesn't have to be a high grade card, but more or less a player, a Killebrew or an Al Kaline or one of those guys, or somebody from the 30s or 40s. I mean, are there any cards off the top of your head or players off the top of your head that may be a sound investment?
Yeah, that's you kind of hit on one of them already that was on the top of my head, and that was Kaline. I think Kaline provides nice value after the first and maybe even the second tier of Hall of Famers. Kaline, Killebrew, going back to the 30s, obviously, a little bit more high end, but maybe not to the ultimate, level of Ruth and Gehrig, and even DiMaggio is maybe a guy like Dizzy Dean. Rogers Hornsby, Sisler. So I think some of those, maybe second tier, even maybe a little bit lower than that, but very incredibly popular guys provide good investment potential. And then in regards to maybe sets that are overlooked, obviously 33 and even 34 Gaudi are extremely popular, but staying in the 30s, you've got 39 play ball, black and white issue, obviously Ted Williams, and then the DiMaggio card. But after that, the Hall of Famers, even guys like Jimmy Fox, aren't that incredibly I wouldn't say valuable, but they provide nice value. And then into the 50s and 60s, I think some of the food issues,
right.
Even in the 60s, some of the post-cereal issues, all the way into the 70s, Kellogg's and Hostess, not incredibly valuable, but definitely a good buy for, budget-conscious collectors.
What about the Diamond Stars set? I know that's a tough set to get in a high grade, isn't it? Because of they chip basically, but is a diamond is for a budget collector, is that kind of a decent set to zero in on?
Aside from the higher numbers in that set, which are a little bit definitely of a challenge and provide some stress on the wallet, the other parts of the set are pretty easy in regards to not costing too much. You get every major star aside from obviously Ruth and Gehrig. But, and so sometimes that set gets overlooked because it doesn't have the inclusion of Ruth or Gehrig.
Right.
But one thing that set provides tremendous tremendously well is it kind of captivates and encompasses the era that it was issued with that Art Deco style. So it really kind of fits the era and definitely remains incredibly popular. It's a little easier on the wallet, and I think it's a little bit of a challenge too.
Good. We are chatting with Bian Drent from Mile High Card Company. We're going to take a quick break. Brian's with us for the whole hour. When we come back, we're going to have another Gax moment. I know you're psyched, JM. You are really psyched for my Gax
It's not only a Gax moment, it's actually my favorite moment of the week.
Yeah, that's what I figured. You're such a fraud. You are such a fraud. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Rico Petrocelli. Right now, thousands of children are facing the most difficult times in their lives with serious illness, homelessness, and other tragedies. I hope that you can join us on March 2nd at the County Line Restaurant in Juno Beach, Florida, for a live auction and some great baseball talk. If you can't join us, please consider a donation to littlesmilesfl.org. That's littlesmilesfl.org to help these kids. And when you donate, please mention the Great American Collectibles Show. We hope you'll help.
Since 1996, Bian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
Let's go! Batter up!
Hi, everyone. This is Rico Petrocelli. JustCollect.com, a leader in the vintage sports card industry, is giving free appraisals on your vintage cards. They'll evaluate your collection for free and let you know the value of it at no cost and no obligation. If you're ready to sell, JustCollect.com will offer you industry-leading prices to buy your card collection. To begin your free baseball card appraisal, visit JustCollect.com or call them at 732-828-2261. That's JustCollect.com for your free vintage card appraisals and top buy prices for your cards. Check out JustCollect.com today.
This is Bian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back. And let's talk about the Philly show, JM.
All right.
East Coast Sports Marketing and Hunt Auctions are pleased to present the Philadelphia Sports Collectors Show, the Philly Show, from Friday, March 8th to Sunday, March 10th, held at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center Hall. Shop over 250 of your favorite hobby dealer booths on over 100,000 square feet of sports collectibles heaven from the 1800s to present day. Major sports auction houses and third-party grading and authentication companies are on hand to assist your collecting needs. The Philly Show is family-friendly, and all kids 10 and under get in for free. Autographed guests to include Super Bowl 52 Philadelphia Eagles championship reunion players. Guys like Nick Foles is going to be there. Super Bowl champion head coach Doug Peterson, Brandon Graham, Jason Peters, Trey Burton, as well as Baseball Hall of Famers Frank Thomas, Robin Yount, and more to come. For more information, go to phillyshow.com. Remember, since 1975, the Philly Show is where it all started. Okay, welcome to another GAX moment, brought to us by our good friend Paul Borges and the great staff at PB Collectables. Go to pbcollectables.com, your neighborhood card shop, for that piece of great memorabilia or for that special card. The T206 set is littered with some of the greatest players that have ever graced the diamond. Names like Wagner, Cobb, Johnson, Mathewson, and Lajoie are just some of the Hall of Famers in this iconic set. The picture you see right now of this guy is one player, however, and he's included in the Monsters set, and nobody seems to know why. Jack Bashton never played in the major leagues. As a matter of fact, he was not even a very good minor league player. When and where was Bashton born? When did he die? No one seems to know. We know that Jack played for the Albany Senators in 1908 and later on that year for the Gloversville Johnson Jags. Jack then moved to the Elmira Colonels. All combined, he batted 180 for those three teams. In 1909, the first baseman made it to the San Antonio Broncos in the Class C Texas League, hitting a respectable 248. Bashton finished up in the Tri-State League, playing for the Reading Pretzels and finally the Wilmington Chicks. Jack packed it in after batting 225 in 1,384 at-bats over a period of 4 years. Jack was included in the T206 set. As a Southern leaguer, as a matter of fact, his card is considered somewhat of a premium. Why is he there? Maybe he was related to someone at the American Tobacco Company. Maybe he even worked there in the off-season. It has become a real head-scratcher. The fact remains, though, that if it were not for the monster T206 set, Jack Bashton would be playing first base in the baseball world of oblivion. And that's another GAX moment. Okay, guys, what do you think? What do you think of Jack Bashton, Brian?
I think that was pretty cool. I didn't know that. And I don't remember the last time you said something I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, when we did the research on that book.
Zap never says anything that we don't already know.
I know, exactly. when we did the research on that book, we dug and dug and dug and dug. we spent a lot of hours contacting the Hall of Fame, spoke to some people from Sabre. We came up with dead ends everywhere. And if you notice the picture, I know you can't see it right now, Brian, but he doesn't even have a baseball uniform.
No, he doesn't. That was really interesting. Yeah.
I can't put the card. I can't. I got to look it up after.
He's got a suit jacket on and a little almost
like a scally cap. It's like a scally cap. Yeah.
Really crazy. Have no idea why the guy's even in the T206 set. Always been a mystery. That was one of the ones that we just couldn't find a damn thing. If you look, dig and dig and dig, birthplace, unknown. Death date, unknown. It was just like, wow. Really crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Man. All right, let's get back to our good friend Bian Drent from a Mile High. Brian, we talked baseball. What about 70s basketball? I'm a guy that grew up, to me, 60s and 70s basketball, especially 70s basketball was, and 80s, into the 80s, obviously. But, I started with Russell, and from Russell, I went to Cowens, and from Cowens, I went to Bird, right through all those years. 70s basketball seems to be real hot now. Is it, or is it my imagination?
No, I think it is. Just like the 70s baseball stuff and obviously football, Topps still wasn't until the mid 80s, production of the cards was just a tool to sell the gum. And so some of the 70s issues are incredibly difficult to find, centered print issues, things of that nature. So to find incredibly high grade cards from that period of time isn't as easy as one would think, even with vending still out there and things of that nature. And then obviously you have a great, group of players. You have Maravich and Irving and, Kareem. In the early 70s, you still have West and Chamberlain, Havlicek. So there's a tremendous amount of players, and a lot of Hall of Fame rookies come from that area. You can go year by year, right, and there's Hall of Fame rookies in nearly every set.
JM,
I want to stay on that and kind of take a little bit from what Zap was talking about before the break with the vintage, and then bring in what you guys are talking about now. And I will bring it back to baseball with the 70s into the 80s baseball guys. I just watched a great documentary on George Brett on MLB Network. Don't know if you guys caught it, but you should. It was awesome. And I'm not saying this because that's the bulk of my collection, but George Brett, Mike Schmidt, Reggie Jackson, Nolan Ryan, some of the greatest players in the history of the game came into the game and blossomed in the 70s and 80s. Then you get into the 80s with Boggs and Tony Gwynn and all. We're talking frontline statistical players, guys that over 500 homers, 300 lifetime averages. Okay, are these cards ever going to get into the realm of? I'm not saying they're going to get up to Gehrig, Ruth, and Cobb and Christy Mathewson, but we always talk about they're going up, but. I'm not seeing that. And I know, Brian, if you are, or is it just a case of there's too many of them out there? I don't know what the holdup is, because it's not the quality of player.
Yeah. I guess in like grade 8 and even 9, there is a lot of material. But once you get to that magical 10, obviously, you see incredibly high prices for some of that material. Yeah. Like in our upcoming auction, and I don't love to steer it that way. That's not my game.
No, we want you. No, that's good. We want you to do that. Yeah.
60. I know you guys remember we had the 68 set that was number 2, and I think it did 1.4 million or something along those lines. Believe it or not, we're breaking the number 1 set 68 set in the next auction. So it's literally almost all 10s. Yeah. I think like 6 or 7 cards that aren't 10s. But on top of that, we got another collection in that was Cincinnati Reds based. And so it starts really in 70, runs through the 70s and into the 80s, actually. And it's nearly all 10s with some 9s. And there's some really high grade cards like, 70 bench in a 10, a 70 Rose in a 10, 71 9, 71 rows or bench 9, and then 72 rows in a 10, 73 rows in a 10, 73 bench in a 10. That kind of stuff will go, quite honestly, bonkers, just because it's elevated past those 8s and 9s, obviously. And so you might see nice prices on 9s. There's many, many multiples for 10s.
Yeah. JM, you're making a good point. I think, and agreeing with what Brian's saying, the 10s go for a real premium, and some of the 9s do. But going from below the 9s, there are so many out there.
And that's, right.
I mean, unlike, 33 Gaudis, I mean, those are finite numbers, pretty much. I mean,
sure.
But, there are.
I just think about it's about that. It's not the quality of player, because I mean, you're talking about a Ricky Henderson, you're talking about a Nolan Ryan. I mean, a Nolan Ryan is like, go through his stats. You could make a case he was the greatest pitcher who ever lived.
Yeah, I mean,
when you think about it,
his high grade cards do have a really.
But even
premium.
aside cards, like in our last auction, we had a 1980 alternate jersey of Henderson.
Okay,
and it was a beautiful jersey. And I know it was sold in a competitor's auction, and this isn't anything to point out. It's just the upward mobility and upward trends. And these are numbers off the top of my head, but I think it was sold maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago in the $16,000, $17,000 range. The guy, bought it, consigned it.
Right.
And I think we got 23 or 24,000 for the jersey. And so, just aside from the cards, but focused on the memorabilia, how JM pointed out, Ricky Henderson and those kinds of guys, that jersey, 5, 6, 7 years ago may have been under 10 grand. Now for a knit, we're talking nearly $25,000 for that kind of jersey. Those were unheard of numbers 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Brian, let's talk about your upcoming auction. Can you, throw some carrots out there with some of the? This is going to be a big one. I know that. Can you throw some a little tease out to some of the items?
Yep. We're going to break the number 168 set. That's going to be really fabulous. We're breaking a really high grade 51 Parkhurst set, which is incredibly popular. Includes rookie cards of obviously Gordie Howe, Maurice Richard, who's the Red Wing goalie? I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think. But anyways, that, and then the Cincinnati Reds collection is fabulous. One of the cards that kind of sticks out to me, two of them, we have a 66 Topps test of Bobby Orr, really rare issue, and it's a PSA 8.5. There's only a couple 9s known to exist. So this card's really a card that doesn't come to market very often. And I think there'll be a lot of focus on it. And then we have a beautiful T206 Mathewson white cap graded to SG8. So just those are a couple cards that kind of come to mind. We also just brought in, and it's a card that literally got to the office yesterday afternoon, and it should really inspire some people and really see a good amount of bidding. But it's for Philadelphia card of Jim Brown. And the card, that's not a difficult card. It comes in high grade, 8s, even 9s, but this is the one and only 10. Wow. And so that should be fun to see where that goes.
Brian,
go ahead, James.
No, I was going to say, and Zeb, you come in on this too. Obviously, we just saw Patrick Mahomes win the Super Bowl, and he we're Brady guys here in New England, so it's like, oh, he's not as good. But you know what? I mean, 6 years into the career, 7 years into the carear, he's right
closing
there.
The gap.
I mean, he's right there with Tom in that. Now, is he going to play till he's 45 and win 7? I don't know if he's going to do that. I don't even know if he has it in him to want to play till he's 45. Brady was a unique animal, So, but he's legit. It's for real. The team's a dynasty, a mini dynasty right now. His stats are unbelievable, both statistically and as a leader, bringing his team to championships. He's got hardware, MVPs. I mean, is this guy going to be one of those guys that 15 years from now we're putting in that upper echelon category if he stays on this path?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, as a Denver Bronco season ticket holder, and I'll tell you a quick little story. my buddy who I share seats with, we were at Mahomes' first game that he ever played, and or that he started, and it was late in the season, kind of a throwaway game for them, and they started him because remember he was behind Alex Smith for the first year.
Sure, he sat. Yeah, right.
Monday night, and late in the season, kind of a not important game. And Von Miller has him dead to rights for a sack. You guys might remember the play. And he's running towards the left sideline. My buddy and I may have had a couple too many adult cordials. And he switches the ball from his right hand to his left hand and throws the ball left-handed. And my buddy, he just throw that ball left-handed. And I said, I think so. And he goes, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And I said, I think we might have like a decade problem.
You do. You do. Yeah. And Brian, the thing is, you talk about as a Bronco fan, think about when now Harbaugh's come. Think about the coaches in your division right now, outside of Pierce with the Raiders. You have Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, and Sean Payton. I mean, those are three potential, Hall of Fame coaches. Let's face it. And they're in that division now. It's going to be tough sledding. It is.
Hey, listen. I thought about this after the Super Bowl, and as a Bronco fan, I thought in the AFC West, hey, we probably had the all-time best coach in the AFC West with Mike Shanahan. We probably had the all-time greatest player in the AFC West with John Elway.
Yeah.
And probably the greatest team in the 97-98 back-to-back Broncos. And honestly, with that win, I think unfortunately they surpass us with the best coach, the best player, and the best team.
Yeah,
so,
unbelievable. Good point.
They're not done.
It's a good point.
Hey, listen, we have a couple of minutes left before we take a break. Brian, last week we got into a pretty intense discussion, Rico and I, with JP and Al Christofoli from Love of the Game about some of these influences.
That who replaced me last week?
Yeah, actually, Al did. He did a great job. Job. Good. But we got into a really intense discussion about these influences and how there are a couple of guys out there and we were all of the opinion that they're trying to steer young collectors to buy a certain card and not necessarily a good thing to do, because I'm of the opinion that some of them, not all of them, are on somebody's higher up payroll to do that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would imagine that some of these guys may be compensated in some way, shape, or form, and kind of putting information out there that may not be best for collectors, and especially young collectors. And the one thing to always keep in mind, and I didn't get a chance to listen to the episode, but as collectors, first of all, collect what you enjoy. Too many times I see people, and whether it's modern or vintage, they always follow the group, and there's ebbs and flows to everything. Yeah. And there's hot parts of the segments of the market and hot, genres that people are collecting. And it's like these guys jump around and they have to collect what everybody else is collecting. Collect what you enjoy. Do your own research, figure out what you're doing, and go your own way. And at the end of the day, I think you'll be rewarded more than ever, and you'll enjoy it. The influencers, maybe they're just that, just trying to influence.
That's it.
Great advice. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Brian is in the house. He's going to stick with us. I think Mike Prov is going to be coming on. Mike Prov usually has a really nice suit on when he comes on. Let's see what he looks like. I don't even know if he's here. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden Auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
With record-breaking sales from everything from the white border T206 Honus Wagner for $3.12 million to some great items that support the Jackie Robinson Foundation, Golden Auctions has set the highest standards for the finest in sports cards, autographs, and game-used memorabilia. We're always accepting consignments of high-end premium sports treasures or entire collections. Please register for our next auction and bid now at goldenauctions.com. That's golden with an I. We at Golden Auctions are committed to providing unsurpassed customer service for the discriminating collector. That's exactly why we're the leader in the industry. Visit goldenauctions.com or call 856-767-8550. Remember, Golden Auctions. We don't just break records, we shatter them.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Provenzale. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Provenzale Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
So how does your company or organization do promotions? Imprinted products keeps your brand in front of your customers more than any other form of advertising. For the best on-time service and new ideas for your next project, give Petroselli Marketing Group a call at 800-264-4294 or email us at mp@petrosellimkt.com.
Okay, we are in the house with Bian Drent from Mile High Card Company and another friend of ours. And what did I tell you, JM? I said he's going to have a suit on.
He looks great.
He looks like a stockbroker.
And let me tell you something else. I listen to his ad, always his spot. He does the voiceover for that. And I've always said, not only at Zap, if you outlive me, which is highly unlikely, but if you do, not only do I want the video at my wake, but I want Prov to narrate the video. And here's John drinking a bourbon at Salisbury Beach, and here's John finishing 10,000th in a road race. And I want the narration by Mike Provenzale.
Reasonable rates for voiceover work.
Mike from Heritage Auctions. You guys know each other pretty well, I would think, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Prov, first of all, you have a suit on. Are you going to a wake? What's with the suit?
Top interview.
I'm sorry?
I am in New York, in our beautiful New York
nice.
Park Avenue.
All right.
We have our Platinum Auctions on preview. Anybody can come see it. Come by and see me. We can talk about all the items in there. Some pretty incredible stories.
Well, I'd like to put a bid in right now for the unopened OPG box. I'd like to put in a bid for $500.
Yeah, well, you bypassed that, but we could throw that on top if you'd like.
And Prov, I'm going to go $250 on the 1950, the Red Sox team postcard that includes Babe Ruth. I'm going $250 on that.
Yeah,
$2 here for y'all deep pockets.
Why don't you tell us, all kidding aside, Platinum Auction is like memorabilia heaven. Tell us about some of the key items in it. Obviously the OPG. Tell us about that unopened box.
It's one of the best auctions we've ever put together. It's really incredible. The OPG box, 79 OPG unopened case. Really incredible story. It's great. The family just found it in their dad's house. They didn't even know that they had it because OPG labeled the boxes with the second year, so it said 1980 on it. They thought it was a 1980 case. They poked a little hole in it and saw the white boxes for the 79 OPG. So that's already at $2 million. Great story. Came out of middle of nowhere, Canada, which is just perfect. I mean, where else would you want to find something like that? The other thing is the 1916 Babe Ruth World Series game used glove. That's one of the most important pieces we've ever handled. When Babe Ruth was asked what his favorite moment in baseball was, he didn't say anything offensive or batting. He said it was that Game 2 complete game victory in Game 2 of the World Series. And this is the glove he used. He annotated it himself, said it was the glove I used in the 1916 World Series. So just an incredible piece of history.
What is that at?
That is at $500,000 right now. I would be shocked if it didn't get over $1 million with it being Ruth, such an early game used item.
I mean, that's really a museum piece. It really is.
It's incredible. To see it in person. You can come see it in our New York office. I was looking at it today. The security guards we have working were amazed at, how small it is, how little it is. It's essentially like a winter weather glove with just a little bit extra. And then you show them it's got 2 Babe Ruth signatures, his inscription. It's really remarkable.
Hey, Brian, jump in here, by the way. I know that you guys, you're friendly competitors. Feel free to.
I was actually absolutely. Just going through the catalog last night, and just like Mike said, honestly, Heritage's Platinum Night auctions are astounding, and this may be, in my opinion, it's the most astounding of them all. I mean, I knew about the case actually right when you guys got it. I may have been at a show and gone out for a couple drinks with Derek and Lee, and they showed me a little video. So it was they asked me, "What do you think this is?" And the flap opened, and I see the white boxes, and and then I must have looked up with like huge eyes, and then I think Lee goes, "You know what it is." And I know what it is.
Steve Hart was kind enough to let us go and film the entire authentication process, which was amazing. Talking to that guy about wax is mind blowing. He knows everything. Yeah. We got to see it all happen right there.
That's cool. That is cool. I mean, Steve, I've known Steve. Steve and I have known each other for a long, long time. And when I got the beer box find, I took it right there. And the same kind of thing, I got to kind of see him, in his element. And he definitely knows what he's doing. So.
Hey, Prov, you have, and I'd like to bring Brian in on this too. I noticed whenever I do research for the show, when they go into an auction, I see all these card companies that I had not heard of before. You have a Wolverine News Ty Cobb card there. And Brian, you can come in on this too. Tell me about the card and Wolverine News. That's the first I've seen that one, even doing the show for a while now.
Yeah, so really unique piece. That was a new one to me to see in person. But I love those really rare issues like that. I've been doing this a long time. I know Brian has too. And it's amazing when you can see something that you've just never seen before come in the door. I know Brian, they've had plenty of material like that. But when you can tie a great issue like that to Ty Cobb, then you've got a really special piece. And that's what collectors are really looking for, still is those unique ones that you can show off. That is a piece, a card you can brag about because only a handful of people can own it.
Brian, have you come across unique issues like that before?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with that Wolverine, the postcard, I mean, that's a card that early on, I think, was overlooked. I mean, it's an odd size, a postcard size issue. But then people start to realize, hey, wait a sec, this was issued, I believe, in 1907, 1908. It effectively becomes, with some other postcard issues, effectively Ty Cobb's, rookie era collectibles. And so, whereas in the beginning of this, I wouldn't say the infancy, but the beginning of the hobby, more or less, it was often overlooked because it didn't fit typical size. Now it becomes much more revered because of the time that the card was issued.
Very, very, very cool. Hey, we got about 2 minutes left. Brian, first of all, when does your auction start? Do you have a start date yet?
Yeah, it's March 29th, and we'll finish up April 13th.
All right, so that's a good run. And when is the Platinum auction end, Prov?
February 24th and 25th, and it'll be on display here in New York all week, and we'll have some of it on display at the Burbank show this weekend as well.
Michael, how many lots in the auction? Oh, did we lose Mike?
I think he froze up.
Oh, he looks. He's back.
He's back.
You're back, Pro. How many lots? How many lots in your auction?
1,200. So the session one, which will close on February 24th, that's all the high 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure stuff. But there's plenty of stuff in there for all levels of collectors.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, when we say Platinum auction, and we talk about some of these items, there are items in there for every collector. And the same holds true with Brian's auctions. Brian, the first lots are just mind-blowing, typically, Brian, in your auctions too. But there are items there that the budget collector can get for a couple $100.
I think that's the best way to build an auction. I mean, obviously, you have to have a little bit of eye candy, but understand that not all of your customers are, of the means to be able to afford some of that stuff. And there's plenty of great customers out there that will find items, whether it's in our auctions, Heritage's auctions, or any of our competitors that fit the budget-minded collector.
Guys, I want to thank you both. As always, you guys mean a lot to us. You guys have both been with us since day one, year number 8. We are in our 8th year, which is like amazing. And I know that I still look good. With that being said, Brian, thanks so much. As always, we look forward to the auction. Prov, say hi to the guys. Stay warm in New York City because I know it's a little chilly there. Yeah. And our good friend JM.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
Great show, guys. Great to have you guys on, and great to have Brittany on at the top, Zap, to talk about the event too.
And next week, Rico will be back with us. Rico is out right now playing golf. That I know. With that being said, thanks so much for all of your support. We love you guys, and happy collecting.
Have a good one.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.